Civic Action Student Showcase. We are so excited to have you all here to celebrate all the work that your students have been working on. We would first like to thank Mrs. Bourne, our new Assistant Superintendent, for coming to speak to you all today on the message of individuals and their role in maintaining healthy democracy. Thank you, Chrissy.
Good morning. Thank you for coming. Students, guys, and lovely. It is my pleasure to be here with you to celebrate the completion of the Civic Action Project. More importantly, though, we are here to celebrate the power of student voice, the courage to explore complex issues, the commitment that these students have made to making a difference right here in our communities. This year, Bourne Middle School engaged in the process of developing a 5-year strategic plan, setting the course for the future of our schools. This was a challenging process that involved students, staff, community members, and teachers, including grade teacher Mrs. Rivera, there we go, and your As part of this work, we developed a new vision for the Bourne Middle Schools. That vision is inspired to learn, empowered to explore, prepared to act. Grading students through your civic action projects, you've already embodied this vision. You've shown what it means to be inspired to learn. You've asked meaningful questions. You've dug into real-world issues. You've explored topics that matter to you, from environmental change to public health to school policies. Your research was thoughtful, your interviews with professionals were purposeful, and your curiosity was contagious. And I will say that I learned quite a bit about things that I should know more about when you were interviewing me, which then made me really want to explore those topics further. You've also shown that you are empowered to explore. You've stepped beyond the classroom and into the world, reaching out to local leaders, attending many learning options with members of our community, writing letters, and sharing your ideas. You discovered that learning doesn't stop at the textbook. It comes alive when you take initiative and connect with others. And most importantly, and the harder than democratic process, you are prepared to act. You've learned that civic engagement isn't about waiting until you're older. It starts now with a petition, a conversation, a poster, or a plan. Even the smallest action can spark change, especially when it's rooted in care, knowledge, and teamwork. Your work this year proves young people have the power to shape their communities. You've reminded all of us that being an engaged citizen doesn't have to be performance. And while I hope that you spend your time this year engaged with a topic that you are truly passionate about, for some of you, your civic engagement around that particular topic is starting many years. But the skills you built, your ability to research all sides of an issue, the courage you showed in meeting with adults to ask hard questions and be engaged in meaningful discourse, and your ability to hone your research-based opinions and share them respectfully, those skills will follow you as you take your next step. Our community and the communities you may join in the future need those skills and they need your voice. As you continue your journey toward development, you undoubtedly will face community issues and situations where change is needed. When you do not wait for others to engage in the hard work of bringing about change in the community. Instead, remember that you are the perfect person to take the challenge. Because of the skills that you have developed this year, you are ready to make a difference in your community. You are inspired, empowered, and prepared. I hope you will join me in extending thanks to Mrs. Diapio and Mrs. Moore. Their work structured this long-term project, the lessons that they have developed and delivered, the many opportunities that they organize for students to meet with community members, and the class time dedicated to student collaboration, all help to develop your skills and to set the stage for outstanding student work that is on display today, and for work that you may engage in the future. Students, together with their support and the advice support of Mr. Becker, Ms. Hopwood, and Mr. Ross, you have developed projects and presentations which we are incredibly proud of. I know all of us here are excited to learn more about your work and the impact that you have already made on our community through your projects. Congratulations on your incredible achievements this year. We are so proud of your leadership, your voice, and the future you are building.
Good morning, welcome. Just to start off with, to say the Civic Action Project is daunting. Today is the culmination of months-long work, starting with researching topics of interest, interviewing community members, local and state government decision makers, as well as writing emails to people who can help answer their top community questions. They've learned skills that will serve them well in high school and beyond. That is what's the best part of these projects, to see these kids become civically engaged in our community and follow the passion we have for a topic that interests them and then raising awareness about it. We hope they continue to get involved in civic matters and become active citizens in our democracy. We're extremely proud of their hard work, their creativity, their collaboration with their peers, their willingness to take risks, and presenting to you here today. You will certainly be impressed and proud of some of you. 8th graders, in the beginning of this project, I showed you a picture of myself at your age and how community interests have led me on a path of volunteerism and how even the smallest action can bring about a change. I hope you realize that you have the power to do the same thing and continue to use your voice to do so. Thank you. Our student speaker, Zoe Carmen.
Grade Civic Action Project. What does that really mean? Civics, the study of rights and duties of citizenships. Action, the fact or process of doing something typically to achieve an aim. Project, an individual or collaborative enterprise that is carefully planned to achieve a particular aim. Yes, it's a year-long student project to write and present about issues students discover in the but it's truly so much more. Throughout the school year, I was able to research so many different issues in my community that I wanted to solve, ranging from mental health to racism to anti-Semitism. I was given the once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to truly open my eyes to the struggles that citizens face and how to stay and being part of the solution. It gives us all a sense of community, a sense of being part of a project bigger than ourselves. By solving these tense matters that affect us all in our state, our country, and our world. We were able to take part of something that will give so many people the chance to live their lives to the fullest. I hope all of you today, walking through this gym, seeing our movie posters, realize there's so much more than just printed paragraphs, photos, drafts, food, and artwork. There's a passion to change our world, the world in which we live, for the better. And in all of this, I hope to relay that it is a prominent responsibility as citizens to reach out, to leave our communities, our country, better than we found it. So, make a phone call, write an email, speak out at me. It's our civic obligations as citizens in a democracy to stand up for our rights and our views. Starting today, make an effort to make a world a better place for all. Well, I'm only 14, and I know I'm just getting started. I also know that making their voice heard is a constitutional right that must be exercised to keep our country safe with liberty and justice for all forever. Thank you.
Fantastic. So good morning. I am the second half of our care. My name is Lisa DiGiazio, and I have been teaching civics here at the middle school the last 4 years. This year's theme, the importance of the role of the individual in maintaining public property. Invites us all, students, educators, parents, and community members, to reflect on what it truly means to be an active and informed participant in our democratic society. This theme aligns directly with our Mass Social Studies frameworks, which emphasizes not only the knowledge of history and government, but also the essential skills, civic life, such as reason, debate, and responsible thoughtful action. At the heart of our work this year, simple but yet powerful belief, every voice matters. In a world where the noise can be off-putting and the problems at times are overwhelming, it is easy to forget the strength of one individual and what they can carry. But as our students have discovered through their research, community and legislator interviews, and surveys, the health of our democracy depends not only on our institutions or our government officials, but on everyday actions of informed citizens and building those bridges that sometimes can separate us. As we reflect on that, I am reminded of the words of Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, a woman who fiercely believed in the progress of participation. She said, "Fight for the things that you care about, but do it in a way that will lead others to join you." These words capture the very spirit of what our students have done in their progress. They have cared, they have informed themselves, they have worked to raise awareness to our younger classmates here at UMS, and have worked to build great place in our community. They have worked to be inclusive, mindful, and raise their voices to help make our community a better place. They've learned from our community experts who each year come back and help to educate our students, to inform them about our community, and they also are getting that two-way communication. Our students have a true desire to help others. It has been so special and exciting to see the flow of discourse, learning, and growth that is happening in real time. To have more students come back, whether now in the health department or our students in the high school and the whole squad coming down, that is what it's all about. That's why we do what we do. You can see the change right in front of you. This morning, you'll see the hard work, the professionalism, and the courage it takes for young people to tackle real world issues, and to stand in front of so many of you and present their findings. I am so proud of how far the students have come here, and how their strong voices have become even stronger throughout the whole year. From topics such as literature to bird flu to tough topics such as ending stigma and mental health issues, students are not just learning about democracy. They are learning to dig deep, to learn the root causes of issues, to look past the noise, and to take action and engage in the democratic process. They have learned to reach out to the legislators to ask tough questions about policies and enforcement, and to have success as well. I have no doubt that they will go into high school careers with the knowledge and skills to get involved and to make a positive impact on their school, and continue to make a positive impact on our community. Thank you to our families, our community members that come back every single year for us, that are supporting our student program. Your encouragement, your presence, and your belief in their work really matter. So welcome. We're excited that you're here today, and now we have a great pleasure to introduce from Team E2, Yan.
When most people think of word democracy, they usually picture voting, presidents, and debates speeches on TV. But this year, I discovered that democracy isn't just what happens in the board White House, but it's also about what we do every day in our own communities. Working on our civic action project, trying to address a community issue or problem, really proves to me that one person, even a team like me, could literally make a difference. For I focus on engagement, which refers to identifying the cause and issues of artificial intelligence. It started off as just a process on my grade, but once I dove deeper into the actual topic itself of the research, I realized, oh, this is actually real. People in this town and people in the world are dealing with many problems right now, and it wasn't just the big picture. There are many other issues like vaping and mental health. The people who are dealing with these messes are families, kids like me, elders, everyone. I interviewed students from my school, the school community, and many others, just talking to them opened my eyes. I really thought adults had everything under control, but it turns out they need some help as well. This made me realize how much impact just one volunteer, one protest, or one voice can have. Helping your community doesn't mean you have to be known or famous. It just means you care, and you're trying your very best to spread your message. It's about showing up and caring. I decided to stop just researching about change and actually do something. I organized a simple school presentation about the big picture. At first, not a lot of people cared, but I kept pushing. My one presentation didn't have to inspire the whole world. It inspired some of my friends. And those kids are later going to tell their friends. And what do you know? Little Stripe for knows how long. This whole experience of working on the big picture has taught me that democracy isn't just something we study in history class. It's really alive in the real world, and we can keep it going by simply just caring.
Being civically engaged doesn't mean you have to run for president or give a long, boring talk about politics. It can just mean noticing a problem in your community and saying, nah, I'm not letting this slide. Young teens like me, we're still learning. However, we still like to see things that adults don't always notice. And when we speak up, we're not just being noise or starting action. Yes, my project didn't change the whole world or anything, but it made some difference. And that's enough to keep pushing into the real world. So, what's the little one? It's everything. Because once that one single voice turns into 10, and then 100, and before you know it, that one voice is everywhere. All it takes is just one person to tear up the dark. That's how much power each of us has. And if I'm being honest right now, I'm just getting started.
At this time, we would ask our 8th grade students to please walk safely down the stairs and into their tables and
So we are the 8th grade BMS, and this is our project. It is Have Care, Breathe Air, and we're mainly focusing on vaping and just kind of raising awareness on the dangers of vaping specifically. And we have an Instagram here, just Have Care, Breathe Air, no spaces, where we are making posts to the community about vaping and about the dangers to just inform people who may not know about the facts that vaping is very dangerous and it preys on our youth and is destroying our communities.
Yeah, so this is our project. We put a lot of work into this, and I think we did really well. So all of our pictures, these two graphs right here are what we asked the students at Bourne Middle School this year about vaping, and as you can see, they're pretty more like, they don't have a lot of different answers. Most of them have one answer. Like 92% of the students said that schools should take more action in vape prevention. And for this one, 71% of surveyors answered no to, do you think there's enough awareness about vaping in our school? So I think students know that vaping is a big problem, and I feel like we should take more action against it.
Okay, so our main goal of our project was to spread awareness on vaping and to show the dangers and the struggles that can lead to people who vape. And we really wanted to just express these dangers with our project and show what could happen, and examples like lung cancer, and we expressed that throughout our project.
Some main root causes are stress. People might use vaping as a way to cope with it, but it ends up not really working. Children may also be peer pressured by their friends and end up vaping even if they rejected it at first. And then because of marketing, people may also become curious because of the different flavors and the colors and that type of stuff.
Our main goal is to drive people away from vaping and aware consumers that it's bad.
Okay, so this is our Civic Action project, and it is named Poisonous Puffs because we are doing a thing on vaping. So we have some pictures from when we did curriculum night, and we did the people are doing meetings with higher ups, and then we had him present to Mr. Pont's class, and we have pretty much all of the research that we've gained over the past couple months, and we have compiled all together into a nice poster, and I was in charge of the whole design of the poster. So yeah, I'm going to pass it on to him, and he will tell you about other stuff he's researched.
I researched I've gone to interviews about. I interviewed Kerry Schofield about vaping. She said getting vapes from friends and family are easier than getting it from the stores. And Mary Kirby said, when I interviewed her, what do you think the best way is to help kids stop vaping? Is by raising the age limit.
All right, so I did research. I went through multiple articles. I found root causes. I found a nice little timeline of it. I found health risks, why it's not good for you. An example of a health risk would be, even though withdrawal, like, you stop doing the thing, so you lose like most of the symptoms from actually actively doing it. You still have the damage from doing it. But you also start to feel like anxious and stuff because you just quit something you were addicted to because of the highly addictive stuff in it.
All right, this is our project. It's called Smoky Skies Affect Our Lives, and it's about teen smoking and vaping. And the issue with teen smoking and vaping is that it can affect teen smoking and vaping can affect your blood flow. It can affect your lungs, and it can affect the way you breathe. It can also affect with secondhand smoking. It can affect your brain and the way your brain develops. And our goal is to bring awareness to these topics and the dangers of them.
Right, so some of the actions that we took to basically spread more awareness of this issue and topic is we had a curriculum night at our school. We showed our poster board during curriculum night. This was our curriculum night poster board, and it wasn't exactly the best, as you can see. We certainly did a lot more effort on this one, a lot more flourish, a lot more artwork and all that stuff. But we also did interviews with students, teachers, and all that stuff to kind of get more of our info, get more charts, and all the info as a whole. So, like everybody else in basically all the posters around here, nobody had a perfect poster during curriculum night. Everybody probably needed an area of growth. So we included the areas of growth that we needed to do. So one of our areas of growth was that we needed to practice saying our issue out loud a bit more to a smaller or mock audience, so we could get more comfortable with speaking and kind of eliminating the amount of filler words that we use, so, and all those filler words that you would know about. But we also made the text bigger, as you can see on our newer poster. With the newer poster, you can certainly see that it's a lot easier to read with larger text instead of this one. It's a lot smaller text, a lot more difficult to read. You certainly need to lean in a bit. But we also should have been more prepared to show and speak out our information on this poster. With this poster, when we presented it, we didn't entirely know what we were talking about. We maybe knew about mid-level depth of rabbit hole with all the smoking stuff. We, again, didn't really know all of what we were talking about, but we managed to get through it and survive. And the importance of this topic and part of the root cause is this topic is a lot more important than most people really realize, because with the amount of people, especially underage people, starting and picking up smoking, vaping, cigarette use, and all the other electronic devices, or just what they use in general, the amount of that increasing also increases the risk of it normalizing younger people using this. So basically bringing it back to the 50s and 60s where everybody smoked and nobody really knew the exact effects of it. And also the amount of peer pressure from other students, peer pressuring others to try these substances is also becoming a lot more of a larger problem, especially with social media and all the ads online, making it look like a cool thing that you would want to try. Personally, I saw an ad, and it was advertising a vaping device, and it was advertised as a happy stick. All your problems were going to go away. Really sneaky advertising, trying to get people hooked onto it and try it for themselves. And yeah, that's pretty much it. But right here is Aaliyah's grandma. This is her grandma's story on vaping and what it was like for her. So I'll hand it over to her.
She started when she was 10. Now she hasn't smoked for 6 years. But now she has to take medicine and stuff. She needs to take medicine daily.
Okay, so my project is on sexual assault and it's called Be the Voice of Change, and we just called it the Voice of Change because we want everybody to know about sexual assault and how harmful it could be to children and all ages.
I think that if you need help or whatever, you can contact someone, and when you tell someone about it, you can call the number that we wrote down, because it happens a lot and it needs to be fixed.
Project Pop Open Your Feelings is about the mental health of students and teens, and also a little bit about the teachers that work here at Bourne Middle. We learned that 41.67% of the teachers that we surveyed, we didn't get all of them of course, have experienced poor mental health while working here at Bourne Middle, which although not be the majority, it's still a large percentage and should be met and should be taken into consideration. And of course, I'll let Sabella get into the details about the children's side of the project.
There were about 71.43 students that we interviewed that said they have experienced poor mental health and that it is either not getting addressed, and that we think it should be getting addressed because most kids don't know how to speak out or don't get the chance to speak out about what's going on.
This is also Be a Bubble, our little mascot. She hopes that you have a wonderful day and that you take care of yourself. And she also wants you to know that you're worth it.
Hi, my name is Zoe Crum, and my topic was on mental health. From our topic, we discovered a lot about what mental health really means in our community. First, we discovered that 10,000 teens every year commit suicide, which can stem from having mental health struggles and illnesses that have not been addressed. From our graph, we found out that 95% of teens in our school think that mental health is an issue among their peers. We wanted to realize that people who are struggling within our school, that they are cared for and there is people who are looking out for them and want the best for them. We also discovered that the Picasso Medical Center was being shut down on Cape due to funding, and that was not okay. That was not because of funding. That should be the last thing that should be shutting down, especially if there's not enough resources to start on Cape. So we decided that we wanted to address it.
This is me and Zoe's project about mental health. We did I did the surveys. I was surveying people around the school about what mental health meant to them and if it was important to them. And there's a pie chart right there that actually asks teens if they think that mental health is important to people in middle school, high school, teenagers. And 18 out of the 20 people said yes. I think that even though they say yes, that it is important, they don't know how to help people that have those problems with the mental health themselves. So even if they know that it's important, they don't know how to fix it and how to help people with mental health. But we're trying to help people understand that there are ways that you can go reach out to people and make sure they're okay, and that they don't do anything that could hurt others or hurt themselves.
I'm Sarah Cronin, and our project is on mental health. We did mental health because, to me, it's a very important thing, and a lot of people don't realize what the effects are and how we see it. There are root causes such as biological factors, family problems as well, social factors, and drug abuse is a very big problem. But we mainly base this off of teen suicide and mental health. We started with researching and finding information, and we had found that a lot of teens commit suicide because of social factors. It's a much larger group for social factors in teens, but for adults we found it's more of beliefs and drug abuse. and I'm honestly surprised about how bad it is at this point.
A follow-up article from February of 2025 called "The Unprecedented Public Outcry of Barnstable County Assembly Anonymously Opposes Casket Closure and Mental Health Cuts." Details and the major opposition of Barnstable County and how the call to keep the faculty open.
I'm Sadie Kennedy, and while researching mental health, I learned about eating disorders, self-harm, and like drug abuse. Like along with mental health, there's also like vaping, alcohol, and drug like risks that go along with it. And we learned that it was life-changing and life-taking.
The project that we did for our Civics Action Project was suicide and mental health. The issues for our Civics Project was suicide and mental health in Massachusetts. The reason why this is so important is because people's lives are at stake.
The root causes came from the research that we took. They all involve things like drug abuse, physical abuse, and mental health issues. Our group goal was to bring awareness to suicide and mental health around Cape Cod. Our research helped us find ways to help people who struggle with depression and mental illness around the world.
We got to interview a couple people from the town of Bourne. So we got to interview Dr. Starkey, the Hope Squad, and then we interviewed the Bourne Police Department, all on mental health and suicide and what their opinions were.
The charts down here at the bottom of the poster are the survey results from the students and the teachers on the question, do you think teens' mental health has depleted in recent years? Red is yes, blue is no, and yellow is unsure. There's a large majority of red.
The actions we took were teaching the younger kids about our topic and how dangerous it is. The end result was us making our poster. The project was really affected by the time we had to work on it.
In our project, we were really good at getting good interviews and good surveys from the community of Bourne. And we needed to work on grabbing the attention of people better and getting people more involved with the topic.
The life lessons we learned is to get help if we feel suicidal or we're struggling with our mental health.
So our topic is on affordable housing and how everyone deserves shelter. Affordable housing is the problem where house costs are high relative to the incomes of people living on Cape, making it hard for them to maintain and live on Cape.
Affordable housing is important because with these house prices, people will no longer want to come to the Cape, and it could lead to school sizes going down and overall town sizes decreasing.
Our action plan. My group and I came up with a lesson plan to teach a 7th grade class all about affordable housing. We first presented slides all about our topic, and then we came up with a Kahoot for them to answer questions, and then we had a doc all about our topic.
Our goal was to bring awareness to the rising crisis of affordable housing on Cape Cod.
And our end result is that we interviewed people, sent out emails, researched and surveyed students and adults, and our lasting impact is that we want to spread enough awareness so that people have the opportunity to live on Cape Cod.
We've noticed the lack of affordable housing in Bourne when school sizes have been decreasing, and not a lot of people are coming to Bourne for schools.
We chose to do obesity for our projects because it seems to be looked over by a lot of people, and it can lead to many health risks, and it's also seems to be looked over and like normalized by social media and societal norms. The definition of it is when your BMI, body mass index, is 30 or higher. It depends on your reported height and weight, and a lot of people commonly mistake being overweight with being obese, but that's not the case.
The action plan that we chose was to inform the 6th graders on an exit ticket. We succeeded with the exit ticket and they passed. We could have improved by making it more engaging and entertaining, but nonetheless we still got them to understand. We learned that we could all make an impact just by making a small cause and informing the 6th graders with our knowledge.
This is our project about littering. We took a couple pictures, and this one is about our group, and we presented to our civics teacher. What we've learned is that a big cause of littering is people who are uneducated or people who are lazy about the topic.
We presented a Kahoot to the 6th grade Miss Lyons class, in which they almost got every question correct. Some areas of growth we could have done better is to contribute as a team better and not overwhelm them with more information.
Littering can be trash on the sides of the roads, it can be plastic in the oceans, or it can be cigarette butts and nip bottles on the highways. We interviewed students and teachers on this topic, and we used the information to inform people and inform people about how littering it can affect everything and how to improve it.
Our project is about pollution. One thing that really stuck out to me is how fast diseases from small animals can travel up and become go into our bloodstream. That was one thing that really stuck out to me.
Another thing about pollution that's littering that stuck out to me was how much it spreads and how quickly one piece of trash can turn into millions of other pieces of trash.
Okay, so the pictures on our poster are when we presented in front of Miss Reynolds' class about littering and how it affects our country.
Some of the animals get wrapped up in plastic and ropes.
Some root causes of litter laziness, carelessness, lack of education, and trash running out of trucks.
Interesting working in a big group of 8 people. We've interviewed and surveyed over 30 people. It was very fun. It was very nice to work in a big group because it's fun. We learned a lot of things about root causes, like how 80% of our world's wastewater flows back into our environment.
And some details of our research is that we see a lot of litter get thrown into the water, and that's sad. So most of that litter can cause algae blooms, and that can affect us as humans, animals, and plants.
It was fun doing a project with a big group, especially learning a lot about an interesting topic. One thing that was pretty interesting is that one of the big issues on Cape Cod is actually water pollution, so it was good to know a big issue.
It was fun to inform everybody about this problem and make more people aware of it to fix the problem in the future.
This issue is so important to our community because it affects our daily lives and human health.
I'm Brady Russell, and this is Litter on Cape Cod. Litter is very bad, and especially on Cape Cod, because we're such a big tourist destination, and we want to stop littering from happening so we can have tourists come. This issue is very important,
to our community because it's bad for the environment. It can kill animals and plants. Root causes of littering are laziness and lack of environmental education, and sometimes lack of trash cans. I mean, you can do your graphs.
We asked our students, have they noticed that Cape Cod has a litter problem? And 68.2% said they have. We also asked our students, have they littered on school property? And 66.7% said they have.
The actions me and my group took were meeting with Phil Goddard, who is the head of waste management on Cape Cod, and we taught a 7th grade class about the effects of littering, and we met with Representative Vieira to see his views about littering. And I've learned throughout this project that one little candy wrapper can hurt the entire world, and everything is being affected by it, and we have to stop littering because we want to keep this planet healthy.
Don't litter!
So this is Cape Cod's coastal crisis. Our issue is climate change. That's our topic. So the description of climate change is the raise of carbon levels depleting the ozone layer, letting more light in, warming the temperatures. It also causes erosion, sea level rise, and warming of the temperatures of water.
Cape Cod's climate change, there are many causes, but some root causes are burning of fossil fuels, carbon dioxide increase in the atmosphere, and harmful gases are being released by factories.
Our goal is to inform people about the impacts, risk, and help reduce the effects that come with climate change.
So the research we found, and the thing was, which is kind of weird, is we didn't see, when I was researching, I didn't find a lot of websites of climate change just on Cape Cod. So that was a thing that kind of stuck out to me, that not many people were talking about climate change on the Cape. So, but some of the stuff I did find on a couple of websites was that this issue affects the wildlife, so that's the marine life, that can affect our seafood economy, which is a huge thing on Cape Cod, but also the tourism economy.
This picture here is me interviewing community experts that work with Cape Cod Commission about addressing the climate change on Cape Cod and its significance.
We also have some surveys here. Our first question, if you were offered a job that could help the world by cleaning up trash, would you accept it? And most said yes. Their second question, have you noticed any places in Cape Cod ruined by climate change? And most said no.
So some of the actions we took to spread the word, where we presented to Miss King. She's our 6th grade English teacher. We presented during a WIN period, which is basically kind of a study hall to get work done. We presented our slides, which basically is the same information on this trifold. And we also asked a few questions at the end. And surprisingly, they all answered and most of them were correct. So our hope is that at least one kid in this class took that information home that we gave them during our presentation and shared it to their family and spread the word.
Hi, I'm Lizzie. I did the avian bird flu for my project. I learned a lot about this project throughout this entire thing. The avian bird flu is definitely something that should be more focused on. So Donald Trump recently just said no and stopped funding this research. So he took away $80 million for the vaccination for it. So he's not letting us go further with it. So through this project, I've been really trying to bring knowledge to it so that maybe we can change the democracy to put more research into this and actually get that vaccine for us.
So I did a small business shutdown, and I apologize for how the board looks. It stuck to itself and got all ripped up. So I had to repair it. But I did small business shutdown. So small business shutdown is a huge issue in our society because small businesses are really tightly knit to a lot of people. So right here it says that I asked, do you or a close family member own a small business? And 72% of people said yes. Yeah, they or one of their family members does own a small business. And really, when you think of small business, you have to think about, money. Business is just, businesses are made to get money. You can't put it past them. So money is like power. And so what big businesses do is that they purely exist by law to get power, or money. They exist to get money. And it doesn't matter what they do, as long as they make money for their shareholders or people who own stock in the company. It's literally written into the law. It's a law from 1930 that says specifically, it states, I believe this is written into the law, that a business must be amoral. It must have no morals, or else, it can get, not copyrighted, but, sued by the government and taken down. And this was made so that, let's say at least I believe it was made so that, let's say the owner of the business grew up in this small town, they can't just say, oh, I didn't like I didn't like growing up here, so they stomp it out. So that was made for that, but it ended up backfiring because now big businesses must get money and solely money, or else you can get sued and taken over by their shareholders. So, if let's say Amazon, builds a big, nuclear reactor right next to a river, if it's more cost effective to dump the nuclear waste into the river and deal with all the suing, then they have to do it, or else they can get sued by their shareholders and taken down because they didn't make as much money as possible. And so, really to combat this, you can't kill the big business, but you can always help the small one. You can't hurt the big one, but you can help the small one, by funneling your money instead from like big businesses to small ones, then you can help them and help them not get stomped out by the big ones. So, it's really, even if you can't, nobody's gonna blame you if you must buy from a big business, because the prices are cheaper. But if you have that little bit of extra money to spend, even if you must go to Stop and Shop, get the, maybe think about getting the one from the small business, even if it's 10 cents more. And even if you must shop online, and you don't want to use untrustworthy sites, well, if you go to Amazon, if you click on any product, will have a little name. It'll have the brand name, who made this. Well, and while I wasn't just buying from the Chinese companies, because a lot of those own sweatshops, same with a lot of the African ones, but any of the other ones, you can usually tell by the name, and usually they have a location listed. Well, you can't always trust that location. You can usually judge by the name. Because Amazon takes tons of profit from the, from wherever you buy it from, 50, 60, 70, even 80% of the profit, and they can't speak out against it because they've signed legal contracts. They basically signed their souls away to Amazon that if they speak out against it, they will literally be because companies are considered people by the U.S. government, they can be sued for defamation. Plus, they've signed documents that if they do, they'll get kicked right off Amazon, and they can't do anything about it. So you wouldn't really know about these things. But the best way to know about them is to simply learn from maybe a lot of news sites may talk about it. Sometimes you'll have anonymous people talking about it on the internet. But even so, you're not going to see a lot about this. But the best way to combat it is simply clicking on them, clicking on the buyer. Or the seller, and then clicking on the seller's website, and usually they will be selling said product and maybe a marked up price, but they usually will be selling the same product on their website, and you can buy it, and 100% of that profit's going to go towards them. So you can help them, and while you can't hurt the big business, you can help the small ones. So, in the end, it's mostly that you want to really just try and buy from small business as often as possible. And if you can't afford it, nobody's gonna blame you. If you really must buy something from Amazon, go ahead. If you can't afford to buy something from a small business, you shouldn't harass people who do. You should just live and let live. But it's really just among yourself, maybe try helping businesses advertise. Small businesses advertise, come to them and give them maybe some of your ideas. Because again, small businesses are local, they want to listen to the people, and they don't have the issue with the shareholders, so they don't have to only get money. They can be more personal, they can have morals, they can have ideas, And so really, in the end, just try to buy from small businesses. And if you can't, nobody will blame you, but I really suggest you do. Thank you.